Well, this suddenly became the most important offseason in Timberwolves history. Owner Glen Taylor has put the team up for sale, multiple groups want to buy, but of course, Kevin Garnett gets all the attention. In this video, we're going over offseason moves, but let's get this straight. Whoever the new owner is should move the team out of Minnesota. They have been the worst team in the NBA, literally. 31 seasons, 1 division title, 1 playoff series win. Let Las Vegas have a chance at this point, or Seattle. Glen Taylor wants the new owner to keep the team in Minneapolis, and he'll get his wish if they start winning. If they keep losing, I think the city could lose their team, or eventually the team could lose their superstar. It's Offseason Wednesday. We have a really important offseason to get to.
It's another Offseason Wednesday on AM Hoops. I'm Casey Kiernan. Check out the playlist because we may have done your favorite team already. Just a few more weeks until the season restarts. We're doing the teams not in the Orlando bubble. Hit subscribe and notification bells. Also, if you want to request a video or get a shout out, consider joining the Patreon. The link is in the description. Off-season Wednesday always starts with a basic. So, the Timberwolves draft pick. They have a 14% chance at picking number 1, over a 50% chance of picking 1 through 4. Also, they have Brooklyn's pick if the Nets don't make the playoffs. Cap space, none if they re-sign Malik Beasley and Juancho Hernan-Gomez. Their needs, defense, shooting, backcourt depth, starting frontcourt players, and coaching. They need a lot. Relevant free agents, Hernan-Gomez and Malik Beasley. All right, let's dive deep, starting with the draft. No team needs to win this draft worse than the Timberwolves. Their pick next year goes to Golden State, and we already mentioned how quickly they need to win. They will also have the Nets pick this season, which will probably be 15th or 16th. In the draft, they are looking for defense and shooting, preferably from a frontcourt player. Who does that at an elite level? No one. James Wiseman, not a three-point shooter, and Cat plays exclusively at center. Onyeka Okongwu is good defensively, but he doesn't shoot. Probably isn't worth the top pick. I've seen some mock drafts where they take LaMelo Ball. That would be the worst defensive backcourt in the entire NBA. It would be like really fun, like on draft night and the first night of the season. It would suck every single night after that. I think instead, with one of these top picks, they should absolutely take no one. They should trade out of this draft altogether. Package that with the Nets pick. Either trade out of the draft or for an established player. I know that's not exciting. Timberwolves fans want some young star rookie like LaMelo that gives them hope. It's a false sense of hope. This year's draft is supposedly one of the worst in a long time. It does not have what they need the most. The good news is they could use those picks, though, as assets to fix their biggest problems. Problem number 1 is defense. Look, this is one of the worst defensive teams in the league because they have one-way stars. D'Angelo Russell is one of the worst defensive players in the NBA. It's hard to explain how bad Cat is. The ironic thing about that is this team was known as KG's team. Like Cat, a big man who could shoot, but unlike Cat, a Hall of Fame talent who won games with defense. Winning players are two-way players, like Kawhi Leonard, LeBron James. Neither Cat or D'Lo are winning players. Josh Okogie is their only above-average defensive player, so their biggest need is absolutely defense. Problem number 2 is shooting. The Timberwolves are run by a guy who worked for the Rockets. They love to shoot the 3-ball. What sucks is they don't make many of them. The T-Wolves took the 3rd most three-pointers per game with the 3rd worst three-point percentage. This team needs shooting. They have Malik Beasley, who will re-sign for more money. He was a beast after that trade from Denver. He scored over 20 points per game on 42% from downtown. But he is bad at defense. We mentioned Josh Okogie is a good defender. He can't shoot. When we get to trades and free agents from Minnesota, keep this in mind. And problem number 3 is coaching. The organization likes Ryan Saunders. He's the son of legendary T-Wolves coach Flip Saunders. The players like him. The issue is those two things are not making him a good NBA head coach. I think most T-Wolves fans have come around on this, but for those of you who aren't, be honest with yourself. If Ryan Saunders was on the open market, would he be a serious contender for any head coaching job? Probably not. What I think they will do is give him another year. What I think they should do is hire Kenny Atkinson to turn things around. And it's not just that Atkinson has turned around young teams before, like he did with the Nets, turned them into a playoff team with a league average defense, which wins a lot of games, but also D'Angelo Russell was an all-star under Atkinson. If the T-Wolves wait until next year to move on from Saunders, it could be too late to hire Atkinson, who is a good fit. And unfortunately, I think that is what they'll do. Now let's get to free agency. And the first thing you have to know here is they really don't have any cap space. I mean, if James Johnson opts in, which he will, and if they sign Malik Beasley and Juancho Hernan-Gomez, which they will, then Minnesota only has exceptions to work with. That means the most they can offer someone is around 9 to 10 million bucks per year. So don't comment, please, about Brandon Ingram or Fred VanVleet. They have to make moves that fit their budget. So let's get to the top 3 free agent targets. Number 3, Derrick Jones Jr. How great would it be to see Derrick Jones Jr. as the roll man with D'Lo while the other team's big man is guarding Towns? He would kill teams. He's also a lanky, athletic forward, so he's versatile defensively. The issues with him are his price tag, which could get high if the Heat want to keep him, and his fit. Look, his defense is okay, but it's still got a lot of improvement to make. Free agent target number 2, Joe Harris. Harris is a great mix of defense and shooting, plus he has a veteran presence in the locker room at 29 years old. He shot 47% from the field and 41% from deep. He's the kind of guy who doesn't need the ball in his hands, and while the defense is focused on Cat and D'Lo, Joe Harris knocks down a 3. He is in the 96th percentile of unguarded catch and shoot threes. That is automatic. On the other end, he'd immediately be one of their better defenders, which says a lot about the roster already. His athleticism and finishing at the rim aren't great, but for a team that will shoot a ton of threes next year, he is a great free agent fit. But the best free agent fit is Jeremy Grant. Now, the price tag is the biggest issue here. The T-Wolves would probably have to get Hernan-Gomez to sign for a little less than market value. Then they might be able to afford Jeremy Grant. He's got a player option, so the Wolves would have to pay up, but they absolutely should for such a great fit. Dude is a 3-and-D wing who does both very well. 40% from downtown, even though he doesn't shoot a ton, and he defends all 5 positions. He works well off the ball, and I think he'd have a great chemistry with Karl-Anthony Towns. Grant's defense makes up for Cat's some, and the fact that Cat shoots so many threes means Grant's volume isn't so bad. And now let's get to trades. And we always have fun talking about trades on Offseason Wednesday. But to be honest, this is a team that did most of their trading already at the trade deadline last season. So we're not going to spend a whole lot of time on it. Just 2 trades here. One trade that I think actually is realistic, and then one dream trade that would 100% break the internet. My best trade for the Timberwolves this offseason is Jonathan Isaac and Al-Farouq Aminu for the 2020 first-round pick and James Johnson. This only works if the pick is in the top 2 for Minnesota because Isaac has so much upside. Anything less, it would have to be more picks. He fits perfectly on the Wolves because he's a power forward who has a defensive player of the year ceiling. Orlando lets go of Isaac because while he was a great pick for them, they can draft a potential star with a top 2 pick. The Magic are going nowhere. They're one of those 8th seed playoff teams every year that just gets blitzed in the first round. Not much to be excited about. Well, LaMelo Ball or Anthony Edwards would fix that. Isaac isn't a perfect fit because he doesn't shoot at an elite level, but he isn't a total loss there and he could improve. But my dream trade is, Devin Booker for James Johnson, Jake Layman, Jarrett Culver, and 5 first-round picks. Getting the slam cover back together. Before you comment about this giant draft haul, it would take at least this much to get Devin Booker, an all-star and a franchise player out of Phoenix, who is under contract until 2024. On Minnesota, these 3 would love to play together, and Devin Booker's a great fit on this team. He can play off the ball like he did this year with Rubio at point guard and be an all-star. He's got the physical tools to be average on defense, and he fits their timeline at 23 years old. The Suns do this to start a rebuild. Let's be honest, Suns fans, what do you really have for sure beyond Booker? Are we sure about DeAndre Ayton's ceiling? Kelly Oubre Jr. This could be a chance to cash in on Booker before he demands a trade. Bottom line with the Timberwolves is that trading D'Angelo Russell for Andrew Wiggins was actually one of those rare win-win trades for both teams, but still, even then, they are a borderline playoff team. This offseason, they need to improve on defense and shooting, and if they don't, they could lose their franchise player soon.
Support AM Hoops and click subscribe. Don't miss a daily NBA video.